think of the cavemen 40,000 years ago that crawled underground to be able to get to the cavern to paint. To me, painting is something that a person almost needs to do to express himself. Style, Jackson Pollock said, is like a rat in your apartment. You can never get rid of it. And I think that's how it is. Each of us have our own mark, and we can't help it. And out of the millions of people that paint, each one is individual, thanks to the way someone made us. It started a few years ago, as you can tell, back in the days of the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma, and I was born and raised there. And I say somewhere that I fell in love with watercolor when I was in the 3rd grade, and my folks bought me a .22 rifle and said the manly thing to do was to go shoot chicken hawks and save the chickens rather than becoming painters. So coming right off the farm in the Depression, someone who was interested in painting was not looked upon as a very manly kind of person. And these were the days of the oil booms in Oklahoma, when you had the boomers and the wild necks and this kind of stuff running around. And so it wasn't too popular to be called an artist or a painter in those days. And in my high school, we never heard of art. So I was introduced to art very late in life.
His works reflect a singular form in illuminated and yet drenched in shadows. And so it's ethereal with a focus of a form that is not always quite in focus.
This is Night Watchman. I did go through a period, and frankly I'm still in it, where I love the oranges and the reds. And I thought that with a nice lot of texture, that this played pretty well with itself. But the paint's not real, the owl's not real, but it's the feeling that this painting will give you that's real. And you won't remember me, or you won't remember what I've said, but I think if you look at the painting, the eyes are something that you see, you're going to remember that because it's a feeling that the painting imparted.
He has a wonderful sense of color, form, and texture, as you can see by looking at his works.
This painting obviously was based upon a Picassoist, and you probably would recognize these are some of the paintings. I'm not sure that if Picasso did these particular ones.
He actually makes his own paints, which is really unique.
The white is a combination of plain white, and then I make a lot of my own colors. And some of the heavier stuff you can see that's more coarse is white paint that I've made. You would go from that to something else that I love is what I call Star Bright. This, I think, if I was trying to pick a person, would be starting with the Jackson Pollock, in that you see the drippings and stuff. Hopefully I put my own mark on the painting, and with heavy texture, and again with a lot of glass and a lot of sand, to try to get some internal kinds of reflections out of that. I guess I go from that to something like this, which has won, by the way, a Best of Show in a couple of places. I started out calling this painting The Journey because it's the first step. But everyone talking about feelings, everyone that saw this said, oh, it's the first step. So I changed the title. It's been known by Journey, and it's been known by First Step. It's a combination of glue and a combination of gesso and a number of things where I wanted to see just how far I could push the medium and to give the feeling of a little bit of drama, stepping out on this long journey that we don't know where it's going to go. This that I call Morning, again, it's my feeling, hopefully, of contemplation, of looking at the morning and trying to see what it's going to bring. I hope this is the feeling. You know, it takes two to get a feeling. I hope that my paintings, and this is obviously a small part to talk about, but I don't want confrontation like Lucian Freud and a bunch of great other painters, in that case I would say artists, have done. I've seen enough confrontation in my life. I hope that when people look at the paintings, it causes them to kind of maybe take a breath and then to just kind of think about the painting.
Jim Cobb is an experienced artist.
The true artist is only going to be judged by time. And you can think about people in history that you would call an artist. And for every one artist, in my judgment, there's 100,000 painters. And so it's just something that it just seems to me a little too exciting just to say that I'm an artist. I think it's better to say that we're painters, and some of us will be judged artists.